weeks. I feel like I should have connected with Friday at least twice, and I have yet to actually connect, man.
I just made the mistake of just going on the internet, and it's like I need to stop doing that. Where do
in preparation or entertainment?
No, I don't know. No, it's just like I think I've clogged up my Facebook profile because I follow a lot of filmmakers and a lot of creative people and stuff. It's like every time I go on Facebook, all the timeline's filled with is people going, "Hey, look what I did! Hey, look what I did! No, don't look at what he did. Look what I did! Hey, look what I'm doing! Look what I'm doing! Look what I..."
Right.
I think I'm the only one. Well, one of the only ones that's on there going, "Hey, look what John did! Hey, look what Fraser did! Hey, look what's..." They're not. It's just like my timeline is just like, "Yay, I'm doing a film," and I'm happy for them. But it's just like when all that is, and then there's a small percentage of all the people on Facebook that everything's a conspiracy theory.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like you all need to get off your computer and just get off your computer basically, because it's like madness.
It's never ceased to amaze me back when when there was I don't want to slam any groups, but let's just say it was a film group that was from a huge neighboring city. How's that? And so people would be like, "John, how you doing, man?" "Oh, I'm doing great. I just found someone who potentially has budget for this movie I want to make." "Oh, really? Well, let me how can I pitch my project?"
Yeah.
"Well, dumbass, I just said that I potentially have funding, so why would I introduce you for competition?" But that is the way too many people think, and I agree with you, man. When it's like, "How's it going, Stuart?" And then you say, "Well," and I'm like, "Hey, guess what? I'm in the new Black Panther." You know what I mean? It's man.
It's tiring sometimes. It's tiring.
It is. Yep. Those are the emotional vampires. I refer to them as. And man, it does get tiring, dude. I genuinely want to listen and hear what people have been up to. And that is, you reciprocate it. Neil does whenever we catch up, and my beautiful wife always does. And then it gets the stack gets thinner after that.
It does. It's like I have a core of people who are, as you've just described, and I would include Fraser, who'll be listening to us at some point, and he'll phone up just to check how I'm doing, and then he'll drop in what he's doing, and I'm like, that's fine because it's work. But you go online, and it's just like nobody gives a shit about what anybody else is doing. It's just like, look at me, and you're like, yeah, but I'm doing something good. Well, I don't care about your thing. Look at me, and it's just non-stop whinging and complaining. I mean, did you? Yeah. I'm guessing you've seen, I don't know how big One Direction are in the US, but they're pretty big in the UK and worldwide. So one of their ex-singers, because they split up, went over a balcony yesterday. 31 years old, went over a balcony.
On purpose or accidentally?
Well, all it said was he was found at the bottom of a balcony. He fell over the balcony.
Gotcha.
That was it. Within 5 or 10 minutes, the conspiracy theorists were out. Somebody pushed him. He must have been high on drugs. He must have been drinking. Oh, I reckon somebody did it. And it's just like, can you not just have 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Right. And it's just like, just have a breather. Somebody died. That sucks. He's 31 years old. That sucks more. If he was 105, 100%. It still sucks. But 31-year-old, that's bad. Just chill.
Yeah.
But yes, it's non-stop conspiracy. I mean, obviously politics and stuff in the US is just that's non-stop chaos. And I bet you'd be glad. Will you be glad when the election's over, or it depends who wins?
Oh man, you know what? Regardless of who wins, I'll feel better because I will stop getting texts from all these unknown people that are like, "Hey, I used to vote for so and so. Now I vote for this and that and all this other stuff." And I'm just like, I don't care. Report and block and delete, and it doesn't matter. I mean, these people, it's just like they have this endless cylinder where they can pull anybody's phone number, or they just have a gazillion phone numbers that aren't attached to anybody. And man. And it's like, oh, Kamala did this. Oh, Trump did this. I don't care.
I don't care.
like, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, whatever happened to your crazy people over in England? I mean, do they still,
Yeah.
you guys are replacing them pretty fast too,
Well,
right?
we had 14 years of the same political party who were terrible. And then in the run up, it was like, we need an election. We need to get these people out. We need to get them out, get them out for months. And then the leader of the political, who was like the fifth in 6 months, called an election. Oh, why is he calling an election? Oh, there must be more to this. Well, just be happy in the fact that we can vote whoever in or out.
Right.
So we all had a vote and we voted in a new party.
Yeah.
Within like a week, oh, this new guy sucks. Get him out. You're like, what? The other ones were in for 14 years. Right. This one's been in for 100 days now, or 108 days or something. Oh, it's terrible. Nothing's changed. In 3 months, it takes more than 3 months to fix 14 years. But they're all, they're crazy. It's like, yeah, we're going to give pensioners lots of money. Why are they getting all the money? What about the children? Yeah, good point. Let's give the children lots of money. Where's all this money coming from? This is outrageous. Our taxes are going to go up. Everybody's just like full on rage about everything everywhere. They go watch Joker 2. That sucks. I want my money back. Oh, whoop-de-doos. You watch the film you didn't like. Oh.
Right. Yeah.
I do that at least twice a week. Like, we both do.
So speaking of Joker, have you seen it?
I haven't. I liked the first one.
Yeah.
I thought the first one was fine, but I wasn't like, I hope they do another one. I'm just like, I'll watch it at some point.
And I wonder how much of the disdain for Joker, whatever it is, has come from James Gunn saying, "Oh no, that's not a DC movie. We don't claim it." And it's I don't know. And then,
but it was never even the first one. No, it was always this is not part of the DC whatever. Right. DCU, it's a DC. Fuck off, DC movie. This isn't part of the thing. Okay, we know that. It's fine. It's a one-off. Now it's a two-off. I don't think it'll be a three-off. I think looking at the figures and stuff.
Probably, man. But
I think it's just people are just mad at everything. Did you see the still of Krypto the Superdog next to Superman?
I saw something, but I never know what's real and what's AI. But I saw something.
Apparently it's a real one where it's Superman and it's shot from the back and he's got a dog to the right of him and it looks like a little white dog. That's the genuine one. Oh, that's gonna suck. This film's gonna bomb. Based on a shot of a dog? Come on. Right. Unless I was thinking, are they gonna like go John Wick? Is somebody gonna kill Krypto and then Superman's gonna go all John Wick for the next 3 or 4 films? I'd watch that.
Yeah, that would be interesting. To have for you just to see the red glow start to build, and then he would go through everybody really quickly, though. Hey,
Superman, are you back? Well, I'm thinking I am back. Yeah. He's off.
But he wouldn't have to dig up his weapons because he's already the weapon.
He is the weapon. Yeah.
But
it's going crazy at that
film. Yeah.
I think it would be. Yeah. Just fry everybody with heat ray. I'm done now. Credits. Goes off to Burger King with Tony Stark and just melds those universes together.
Yeah. So more about the whole Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom. And I don't know. I mean, like, I heard more and more people say that is weird. They don't like it. And I try to have a very open mind because certainly Tobey Maguire is Spider-Man. I didn't think that was going to work, but it was awesome. And he even made a return. But it is kind of weird. I mean, like, maybe, and I don't know, maybe I should, read into it, more on the comic book side and see if Stark was ever Dr. Doom. They're certainly both Brainiacs, but I mean, it is kind of odd. But anyway, just random thoughts.
It's odd. I think obviously it's got to come down to the writing, isn't it? And if you've got a good enough writer, you can make anything make sense.
Right. And it could even be kind of a standalone. It could be, I think Disney's trying very hard to course correct now, especially on the Marvel side. So hopefully they're doing better math and it'll be an excellent movie. So.
See, but we're of the generation when we go, I will wait and decide when I've watched the film.
Exactly.
We're not like, this sucks. Kill it.
Dude,
Kill it with fire. Put it in a
you
wicker
remember when
man.
we were talking about Borderlands? And
Oh,
so
wow.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it. And damn if
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I just couldn't.
Really?
But I can't
Yeah.
work out why I didn't like it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because it
What
looks
did you
great.
think
It
it was gonna
looks like
be?
I
What were
wasn't
your
sure.
expectations, man? Yeah.
I was because I genuinely go into every film going, look, there's two things going to happen. I'm either going to like it or not like it. If I don't like it,
Right.
I'm not too worried about it because
Yeah.
there's plenty of other films. It's not like, oh
Right.
no, my life's ruined.
Right.
I don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah.
And it captures the world of Borderlands perfectly. It looks amazing. It looks like
And
the
I've
game.
never played Borderlands. Maybe that was why I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I don't really remember too much of a storyline in the Borderline game. Just run around, kill things, and collect coins, and buy weapons, and trade up and stuff. It's that sort of game. But the world was perfect. The film itself looked good. So the casting was fine, but it just didn't. It didn't grab me. It was one of those films, and we've all done it, where you're watching the film and you go, "Let me just check my emails," and then you look up and you go, "I don't even know what I've missed." I don't care to rewind it and find out. It just, I don't know.
Right.
I was but I was not happy that I didn't like it.
Right.
Because I really like it when the world hates a film and I watch it and go, actually, it's really good. Yeah. I enjoyed it, and that's all I care about. Like The Crow. Yeah. I really enjoyed The Crow. Internet hated it. Oh, kill it with fire. No, just, it's fine. I like it. It's good.
Yeah, we have yet. That's in our list. We haven't seen it yet. And then, have you seen Deadpool Wolverine yet?
Oh, but my Deadpool Wolverine story, I stopped it. And I suspect it was because I wasn't in the mood to watch that type of film. So I had it, and I put it, and it was away on one of our trips to see our kids and whatnot. So I'm like, I want to watch something that's big, something epic, something that I can talk to people about. And they go, I've heard of that one. Okay. So I thought, I'm going to finally put on Deadpool and Wolverine. And I put it on, and I was watching the whole beginning credits thing. And I wasn't smiling or laughing or anything. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be going, wow, this is fun. And I just wasn't. So I'm like, I'm going to stop it. And then I'm going to watch it when I'm in the mood for that type of film. So I think I was just not quite there. I was probably tired or whatever it was. But I got to the directed by Sean Levy part. So I'd watched all there was nearly a smirk when he dug up Wolverine. It was just like the skeleton. I'm like, that's clever. Right. Yeah. That's good. But I'm like, I should be laughing at that. I should be chuckling. And I wasn't. So I'm gonna go back to it.
Yeah. Now, do you think, because you remember when Deadpool first came, I mean, the original came out, and the opening credit sequence just kept me laughing, making fun of everybody that was a part of the movie. And I mean, it was, I don't know of any other, I mean, Watchmen was a whole different side of dark. Deadpool was just dark, but had the humor mixed in. So do you think in this day and age where there is just so much bad stuff happening every day and so much, I don't know, confrontations, and then there's the weather and hurricanes and death and all that. I mean, have we passed the time where because I did enjoy the movie, but I mean, have we passed the time where maybe, I don't know, maybe we've grown, maybe we're not so in the mood for that, what is it, the fart humor, whatever, there's some sort of
I think with that, because it's like, for me, I like the Deadpool movies. I've seen number 1 and number 2, obviously not seen the third one. And I kind of got past very quickly that, oh, look, he's swearing. Oh, look, dick jokes.
Right.
And it's like, in the first one, it was funny because you're like, oh my God, there's a superhero that's swearing and there's all this really inoffensive, politically incorrect humor. We need more of that. But I got to a certain point where I'm like, okay, I kind of get that now. I've seen that. What else have you got? And I think with Deadpool and Wolverine, I will get that because it ties in all the other stuff. So I'm looking forward to more than, F jokes and you touch my penis and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But no, I think you can grow. I mean, it's like you go back to some of the films that we watched in the 70s and 80s and you think, we love them. Right. If you show them to people now, they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
The Exorcist is a prime example. That is one of the creepiest films of all time. But when that film came out on VHS in the late 90s, after being not available for decades, a lot of people watched it and went, that's scary. I've seen scarier films, and like, well, 1973 you wouldn't, but now you have, because you become desensitized to the style of film you're watching.
Well, that now there's so much detail that is given to the sound of every movie. So that will set the tone too. And I mean, you think about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, well, that's early 70s.
74.
When they
74.
74. And but I mean, like, man, that one I'm sure was mono. It just you got to the end of it, for me anyway. And I know I've said this before on Waxing as well as on your show, but man, I got to the end of it. And granted, it was like, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. But I was thinking, damn, I've seen a documentary on a very twisted family, and I don't know that I should have watched it. And now afterwards, you know, like the next day, I'm like going, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. And I went back and you know, rewatched it. But watching it that late at night, with it being so stark, and it just felt so raw, kind of like,
I was going to say raw.
True, man. Yeah.
And this is our show. This is not my show. This is our show. So just I'm gonna correct you on that little part. But I remember.
I appreciate that.
I didn't see Texas Chainsaw until I was 27. So I saw it in about 98.
Wow, man. Yeah.
And it was a video shop custom. We couldn't get it over here. It wasn't available. And this video shop customer came in and he'd mentioned it, and he's like, oh, do you want to watch it? I'm like, I don't really want to watch this. Just sounds horrible. Because there was this whole myth of Texas. I don't want to see people getting cut up by chainsaws, because I'm a bit of a lightweight when it comes to horror films and gore. And I'm like, well, I'm good. I'm all right. And he brought it in the day after this bootleg copy of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I sat and watched it reluctantly in the daytime when I was home. I'm like, I need to watch it because the guy's going to ask me about it, and I need to. And I fell in love with that film there and then, but it was just super raw, super rough, just grainy, and it just, like you said, should I be watching this? Has this altered my life and I don't realize it? And it altered it for the better, because it's like, that is now one of my favorite films. It was around the same time I saw Night of the Living Dead for the first time. Again, it's like, I don't want to watch a film where people get eaten, and just, no, I don't. Why would I want to watch that? I'm more into like Star Wars and St. Elmo's Fire and stuff like that. And I fell in love with Night of the Living Dead because of that. It's become one of my favorite horror films ever since. But you put those on for people nowadays, they're like, what? Looks fake. Like, no, give yourself over to the story. I think a lot of people can't do that nowadays. They can't just go, let me suspend a lot of disbelief and just give myself over to this movie. And I've got a perfect example of that in a minute, which I spent 7 hours watching this thing. And it's not a 7-hour movie, but over the past couple of days, I was sent the screener discs for the Blair Witch Project, the issue that's coming out next month from Second Sight. And I'm a sucker for special features. I love them. I love the Blair Witch Project. I saw it when it came out. I totally got the film. I love the ending. I love the whole marketing, everything about that film. I'm like, that's perfect. I get why people don't like it. So it's something like, that film sucks. I'm not going to go, how can you think that film sucks? I'm like, okay, why? Shaky cam. Looks like it was just made on camcorders. It was. That's kind of the point. And I saw somebody say that the other day. It's like, it just looks like people were out in the woods with cameras. They were. That's the whole point of the movie, for God's sake.
Found footage,
Found footage. So I put the two, I'm like, why is there 2 discs? So I put the first disc in, and it's like 3 versions of the film, and I'm like, that's pretty good. What 3 versions? Now, there's the theatrical one at 81 minutes, there's a festival cut at 85 minutes, and then there's a theatrical version that was transferred onto 35 millimeter. Same version. Wow. So you got pretty much 2 versions on there. So I'm like, okay, never mind. What's in the second disc? Oh, there's a making of. Let me put the making of, because I love them. 2.5 hours this making of. And I'm like, I sat there at night. Annette's not in. She's gone. She's like, you can watch all that crap when I'm not in. All right. She hates it. She don't like it. So I sat and watched this 2.5 hour making of, which was fantastic. Goes into everything, the marketing, the website, everything. And I'm like, I need to watch the film now. put the film on. There's another hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then there was deleted scenes. And I don't know what your thoughts are on deleted scenes on Blu-rays. I don't know if you watch them or if you don't.
I do, yeah.
You know, I usually don't, because I'm like, they usually like press play, watch this 2-minute scene, press play, watch that one. But on the Blair Witch one, they'd put them all in one lump. And it was 91 minutes worth of deleted scenes. So I'm like, I need to see what these are.
Yeah.
And it was like a whole nother movie because they'd put them all in chronological order. Wow. So that was another hour and a half. So then I got up the morning after and watched the film twice more with the commentaries. Yeah. So I'm an expert in the Blair Witch Project now. But a lot of people don't like that film. And I think it's because they can't just go, right, I'm going to put myself in the mindset of the people in the film. Yeah. They're all on their phones and distracted by stuff. And I think that damages a lot of definitely home viewing, but I think cinema viewing as well, because there's always some dickhead on the phone or walking up and down or whatever. So it's just like, well,
and I think, when Jake and I went to see Terminator 1 in the movie theater, what was it, like 3 months ago, somewhere in there, that was a group of movie viewers that wanted to be there. They were excited to see the movie, whether it was first view or hundredths. And there was a respect and honor given to both the movie and the crowd. And I mean, but likewise, if you had to get up and go to the bathroom, that was still fine, but be quiet. And then, but everybody was trying to help you out too, as far as like, oh, just come through here. It's okay. And that's something that is missing in a lot of movies, in a lot of movie theater, as well as home experiences. And people are easily distracted, and they're just like, oh, wait, I forgot to check my email. Oh, wait, I wonder what Ron's doing on Facebook.
Yeah.
Dude. I mean, like, let's either watch the movie or get out of my living room or get out of the movie theater. So,
and that is always when we're watching a film together. She's always like, I know him from somewhere. Let me just see what he's been in.
IMDb is the worst, man.
Always. I'll do it afterwards.
Right.
I don't do it while I'm watching a film unless I've seen the film before. Now I'm like familiar with Jurassic Park or whatever it is. But she always does it. She's like, I need to know what that person's in whilst the film's on. And I'm like, no. No.
But it is funny how sometimes someone can look so different, and maybe they're doing their own accent instead of the American accent or whatever. And it is almost like deja vu. It's like, I've seen this, but I don't know where. And so I get that compulsion. But I mean, that's what bathroom breaks are for, So, yeah.
So, yeah, my fury with film watchers and the internet in general is just increasing constantly. This is why it's good that you had, I've written it down, a therapeutic coach treatment team member. That's you now.
That's right.
So this is like never mind we're talking about movies and stuff. I'm like, I'm just going to speak to my therapist, John, for an hour and a half, and we may talk about films. Congratulations on that.
Oh, well, thank you very much, man. It's Nicola encouraged it, and so did Michelle. And it took a bit, and then I aced the exam. And so anyway, man, moving on forward. And I didn't think about that being a potential group of customers, disgruntled moviegoers. So
there's a lot of them, disgruntled internet people.
Oh, yeah.
They're just mad about everything.
What's funny is that we use Kinetic as our internet provider, right? Well, Spectrum, who is their competition, came by the house today, door knocking, and I told her that no matter what the deal was, I was never going back because they treated me with such disrespect. They didn't care about the speeds that I was not getting. And she was very apologetic. And she said, well, so you're sure there's nothing, that we can do to bring you back? Nope. So it's funny, on every angle, every level of the internet, there's a problem, right?
Yeah, there is. I don't know if it's always been the case, though. It's like,
dude, you think about dial-up, and how we were just happy to get anything.
Exactly. It didn't bother us, did it? Somebody would phone you up and your internet would get cut out. You're like, God's sake.
Right. Either that or you're trying to see one still from the movie, and it's like one line at a time, man. It's like the old LAD logo where, it just kind of goes down. But that was super fast compared to the old internet speed,
It was. So. But nowadays, you're like, I had to download the new episode of Game of Thrones. It took me 6 minutes. Outrageous. Really? You do that crap back in the 90s, it would take about 3 weeks.
Oh,
and then it'd be in Spanish or something.
There was it's now Your Honor season 2 is on Netflix. I don't know if you've watched that.
I haven't seen Bryan Cranston. I haven't seen season 1.
So season 1 was really good too. It's dark. It's not. I wasn't always in the mood to watch another episode because it's one of those things where it's a slippery slope, man. And with the best of intentions, man, did he ever really firebomb his life? But it was funny in that, let's just say there's a service where I could, see things that I can't otherwise find. Yeah. So anyway, I got it lined up and I'm like, yeah, season 2. This is before I realized it was on Netflix. There's a Japanese version. That is not the version that I wanted to see.
It's all samurai stuff. Oh,
but it has Cranston's face and everything on there. And then I'm like, wait, what is this? Is this an ad for something else? No, wait a minute. This is the show. And it was a lot more Jack Bauer 24 than Your Honor. So, yeah, man. So,
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
So Yellowstone's coming back next month, isn't it? I think. Very excited about that.
I have no idea. Yes, I don't know, man.
The final Yellowstones.
Really?
Well, who knows if it's the final ones.
Dude, you know what? It's kind of like when Robert Downey Jr. said, "No, you know what? I'm done with Iron Man." And then they were like, "You know what? What if we pay you X?" I'm back, guys. Yeah. And then he was Iron Man for the. I think that covered the last 3 movies where he was Iron Man. But yeah, man, there's always something. I mean, and they've been saying that Kevin Costner was no longer, like after this season, he's not going to be in it, or maybe he's not in this one. I don't know, man. But I mean, you throw enough money at anybody. Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Of course it is, yeah. I always say that. It's like, I'm not a fan of musicals, but somebody contacts me going, we want you to do a podcast of musicals. Look at all these zeros. I'm like, I love musicals. Musicals are my favorite genre in the world. Episode 1, Greatest Showman. Let's talk about that for 6 hours. Of course, everybody's got a price.
There is something that I will post. I have a TikTok, and I've made one post on there. But this, but I'll go ahead and share it with you. It was interesting. And now I can't remember the name of the Metallica song. But anyway, it's not For Whom the Bell Tolls. Holy crap, man. Why am I trying at this point in the day? But anyway, there is a Metallica song that starts off with this arpeggiated chord, right? And anyway, and what I heard in my head, because Michelle loves musicals, is now I'm spacing on anyway. But it's a musical that their chorus is the opening for the Metallica song, and I think they're pretty close to being timed exactly. So anyway, I'll post that as soon as I have time to download those 2 clips and merge them in Premiere. So anyway, man, I was so prepared, and then it was just like,
and then you just went right off the rails.
It's you feel like when your balloon that you're grabbing, but then you find out that you've got tack fingers, and then it explodes, and then turns out there's colored powder in there, so it just gets worse. Yeah,
I was picturing you as the minecart from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, trying to navigate, and you're the one that just went off.
Yep, that's it, man. And either that, or I always used to describe it as, you're reaching out. It's the weightlessness of space. You're in the middle of space. And you're reaching out for this little ping pong ball, and you know that you can barely grab it, and instead you tap it, and it's gone, man. See you later. So
what have you been watching? What goodies have you been watching since we last chatted?
Well, there is this really cool guy on YouTube that keeps being sent all these cool toys, and he does videos, unboxing videos.
He needs to be sent more cool toys. He hasn't been sent cool toys for quite a while, but you know,
Really?
the ones he did
Yeah,
get
man.
were quite impressive. There, some of them
Oh
behind me.
yeah, man. Oh yeah. And I've got a book that is a DC pop-up book that I got at a convention, and I haven't opened it. I think I shot a video of it back in 2019. But anyway, I inspired by you, I may just set my camera up on a tripod and
Gotcha.
open it up. I'll have to change the batteries because there are some pages that do light up. So,
You
but it's
with some of the geek things that you've got, the fact that you've
yeah.
not got a YouTube channel showing those things off
And
blows my mind.
what's really funny is I get encouragement from people like periodically. We live in an older house. It was built in the early 70s. And so our neighborhood is a prime target of companies that sell like replacement windows, replacement garage doors and all that stuff. And so they're always coming by door knocking, and we replaced a few of our windows. So that company was in the neighborhood and dropped by just to be sure that I was happy and to see if they could talk me into doing some more windows. And I said, "Nah, we're done for this year." So anyway, the guy, I had a Captain America shirt on, which I didn't realize, and the guy said that when he was in the army, because he's retired now, that they used to call him Captain America. And so we started talking about nerd stuff, man. And the other dude knew everything about Star Wars. So at that point, I said, "Look, if you got 5 minutes, I'll give you a tour of my little museum." And they came down. So you've got a very good point.
Yeah.
I could do a video on every corner.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, and just talk about when it's the DL44 collection that was just supposed to be three versions, right? One from each movie, and then come to find out there's like a dozen. And so anyway, yeah, man, it would be kind of fun to share some of my Star Wars knowledge. And same thing with Marvel and DC. And, yeah, man. But getting back to your, let's see here, two things before we get on to TV and movies. So when Helene came through, the hurricane, and we didn't have much damage. It was mainly just like leaves and twigs, but I mean, it was evenly distributed, right? It was just like, the vacuum cleaner exploded outside. And so I'm going along with the leaf blower, and I see this line of ants on the sidewalk. So I blew them off the sidewalk. 15, 20 feet away, there's a branch laying over the sidewalk, and I picked it up. Well, then I'm walking it around the house, and all of a sudden, my hand hurts, man. I got bit 5 times by fire ants. So the purpose of this, and let me tell you, the difference between getting bit here, which that was like Wolverine healing. I mean, it was like, by the next day, that was nothing. But one of them blistered up the worst. And so the interesting thing is that I had sympathy pains in this hand. This is the one where I got bit, but that was the craziest thing because I was so uncomfortable for 2 days. And it's interesting how the mind works in that I could scratch and rub this one because there was nothing wrong with it. If I had done that to this one, then I would have really been miserable. So, the second thing is I try to do some artwork every day. I will try to start sharing some of that online. Another thing that I used to do that I'm trying to get back into is play guitar. So I bought a Fender Squier, some sort of paranormal Stratomatic. I can't remember, man. It has this huge name. But anyway, so that sits out right here beside me. And anytime during the day I'm rendering some video or whatever, I'll just run through some scales or play a song or whatever. So trying to get back into the things that I really used to enjoy. And it's been fun, man. So I'm trying to encourage everybody to do the same,
I'm guessing it's I'm not an expert on guitars, as you'll probably tell by my next question. Acoustic or electric? There we go, electric. Yeah. I was gonna guess electric because you said it was a Fender, and I'm like, I don't know if they do acoustics.
I don't know if they do
No.
acoustics or not either, man. Yeah,
People should do. I was chatting to Annette the other day, and I said, wouldn't it be weird if, like, you get to the end of your life and you go up and there's pearly gates there, and they give you like an audit going, "Hey, John, do you realize you spent 15 and a half years on Facebook arguing with strangers? You spent 800 hours watching movie trailers for movies you wouldn't watch anyway." And you're like, I think if everybody got audited like that, then they'd be kind of horrified.
Yep. Well, that, and then, I think for a while there, and this was before Michelle, there were plenty of times where I was like, you know what? I'll have fun after I complete this. I will enjoy life after I complete this. And life is too short, man. I mean, this could be our last podcast. Hopefully it's not. But I mean,
exactly.
You might as well enjoy your days. And it doesn't mean that we don't have to work and accomplish things or whatever. But man, it's I think we all have to love ourselves first, and that's not always easy. So that's what I'm working on, man.
Try doing that at McDonald's. You get thrown out pretty quick, actually. So, right. Who knew? Love yourself. Well, I was waiting for food, and I just decided to love myself a little bit. Thrown out. Not allowed at McDonald's.
That Incubus song, I can't remember the title, but it was talking about you better love yourself before it becomes illegal. So that sounds like your McDonald's story.
It does.
Or if we ever get Jake on the show, just say, Burger King evangelism. And it's a hilarious story, but I will. I would let him stumble through it, and then I'll tell it the way his wife tells it, and it is doubly hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So, man, again, a bunch of Apple TV shows. Bad Monkey, Vince Vaughn, hilarious.
I like Vince Vaughn, but I haven't seen Bad Monkey.
Yeah, dude, it is that, and then Slow Horses. It just, like the end of this season was so action packed. It was the equivalent of Mission Impossible stuff. I mean, just,
wow.
And then it was like, I don't know, about 20 minutes until the ending, and I'm like, whoa, this is the final episode of the season. You know how you start feeling it, you're seeing the signs and stuff, but. Again, another excellent season. Going back to Bad Monkey, Vince Vaughn is he's kind of a detective. He was a police officer, and then he got suspended, so he kind of becomes a detective. But anyway, it's a really well told season of the show, and it's based on a book. And if anyone's listening and has watched Bad Monkey, I would love to be the narrator of anybody else's Bad Monkey. I'm just saying. Yeah. But yeah, man. So let's see here. Only Murders in the Building. Steve Martin Short. Yep. Can't remember the girl's name.
Selena Gomez.
Yeah. And she's an excellent actor, and I love her speaking voice. I mean, like, I don't know what it is about it, but I mean, it's but anyway, that's been a good season. Still haven't wrapped it up yet. Have you seen Ripley on Netflix?
No, I have not. This is not the Sigourney Weaver Jonesy Xenomorph show. This is the talented Mr. Ripley, isn't it? That show. Yeah.
It is, man. I was just thinking, it's like, who's coming for dinner, right? Anyway,
somebody, right? So I put a thing up the other day or the other week going, which is the best cat in movies? Now I put Clovis from Sleepwalkers, the Stephen King McGarris thing. Somebody said Jonesy. Jonesy is not a good cat. Jonesy just stands around and watches like Harry Dean Stanton get his head bitten off while he hides. Jonesy is a terrible cat in movies. Awful.
100%, man. And I mean, look, my dad loves his cat. They're a cat people. I can appreciate that. I'm a dog kind of guy. But man, when you think about all Ripley does to try and to shut Mother down, stop the self-destruct sequence, so she can go get the cat, so she can try to blow up the ship again, and then she almost takes home the alien. So yeah.
Yep. Jonesy
Uh,
sucks. Terrible cat.
yeah.
One of the best ones. I don't know if you've seen A Quiet Place Day One, but there's a very good cat in that.
No, I
Very,
have not seen that
very
yet.
good film. The cat is
Yeah.
amazing. The cat kind of takes you out of the movie though, because it's a real cat, as far as I know.
Right.
But you're looking
Yeah.
at it going, I've never seen a cat behave like that, so I don't know. And you keep questioning the cat mechanics of it. You're like, would a cat do
Right.
that? Would a cat just go, screw you all, get killed? I don't know,
Right.
but it's worth
Jonesy
watching.
sure would. Yeah.
Jonesy did. Jonesy's like,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to get on that shot. You're going to have to come back and rescue me. Say, I'd have left that cat, and I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you want me to continue down my list, or are you going to jump in?
Yes. No, you can continue. But while you're on Apple, Shrinking is back today, isn't it?
Is it really? That's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
That was
Episode per
another
week
one.
or whatever. But you know.
Yeah, dude, those slow
Back.
drops. I mean, and I'm down with it. Was it on? Can't remember if it was. I guess it was Apple that would drop Bad Monkey and Slow Horses both on a Wednesday night. To me,
Wow.
that's counterproductive, man. I mean, like, let's have something new every night. Let's go back to old school TV where it was like, hey, Tuesday night is such and such, Wednesday night is such and such. But yeah, that I'm looking forward to that. That was one of those shows that I didn't think Michelle was into it, so I finished season 1. And then season 2, I saw that was coming out, and I was like, wow, I'm excited. She said, me too. And I'm like, did you watch season 1? She's like, yeah, because there's some things humor wise that I thought was great, but I mean, Michelle and I don't always have overlapping humor circles. It's kind of like there was a lot of Deadpool Wolverine, kind of like the previous Deadpool movies, where I just kept on laughing. I thought it was hilarious, but then there were times where I was like, man, did they go too far? I'm still laughing. Michelle's not laughing. So anyway, but then I laughed anyway. So
I think it sort of, just before we get back to your list, I think it mirrors what you were saying before, where, is the world too grim that we kind of, I think we need more comedies. There's not many comedies that I can think of in recent years that I've watched and I have laughed my arse off. There's not, but there just doesn't seem to be as many comedies as there used to be.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
I wonder, Vince Vaughn made the comment that he does not do comedies anymore because it's too subjective and too judgmental. And with cancel culture, he doesn't want to get canceled. He did an excellent job in Bad Monkey, but obviously that was not his. I mean, he was the lead, but I mean, it's based on a book. It was a safe zone. He could could use his comedic talents, but not worry about being canceled. So. But I agree with you. I think we need more comedies, and I think we need more irreverent, non-politically correct comedies. Yeah. Not to be mean-spirited, but just to make us laugh and to make us talk about the things that make us all different. But I think the number one need around the globe are more ordinary angels. We need more movies, or like, what was the Ryan Reynolds where it's a bunch of make-believe characters and stuff. They? No. Was it they?
If.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. Ordinary Angels and If are my two top favorite films of the year so far.
Yeah.
They're pretty much a lock. Unless something comes out and blows it away, then they're my two at the minute. Really good.
I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Alien Romulus.
So am I.
Because I am an Alien fan, but I don't think that's going to dethrone any movie that touched my heart or made me laugh. Because that's a good criteria. I mean, like, I appreciate that they went back to practical effects, and I mean, there's a lot of good kind of going back to the Alien roots. But man, we enjoy laughing because there's not enough of that. Yeah,
I think I need to watch more rom-coms because there's usually humor in those and more comedies. But there's just, I sent my 200 list to you on Twitter on a DM, and it's this huge list, and I look at all my favorite films and you go, there's not a high proportion of comedies in those. There's a few, but they're generally not, and there should be. So
I wish more people. And you look at what's his head, the guy who directed both the Joker movies, who did the Hangover movies.
Mm.
And he's another one that says, man, I don't know how to write comedy anymore that is acceptable.
Yeah.
Because you think about the first Hangover movie, it was hilarious. I mean,
Yeah.
like all the way
Yeah.
through. But yeah, I mean, like we need to laugh more for sure, man.
We do.
Have you checked out The Penguin?
I haven't. I'm going to wait until they're all stockpiled, and then
that's smart. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah. Then I'm going to do it that way.
By the way, here's a plug for Disney. And I get nothing from this, but after procrastinating for at least half a year, maybe longer, because I was always going to pull Disney and Hulu under the same umbrella and pay Disney for Hulu, right? And then it was like, hey, check out the Disney Hulu Max bundle.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, like I'm paying 1/3 what I was for everything separate. And granted, now I have commercials in Disney, which I realize
they're not that bad though, are they? I have the ad thing on Disney, and you're like,
yeah,
it's not that bad. It's a time to go to the bathroom, and there's a counter. Right. It shows you how long till they come back on, and
the only downside, there's the I can't remember what it's called now, but it's I think it's National Geographic, and they've got drones that like drone footage, and it's very, very zen, very calming with some nice music, and I maybe 30-40 minutes or whatever, and it's either like the desert or it's big cities or whatever, and man, I used to fall asleep to that. And now I can't, because it's like, 10 minutes in, hey,
yeah.
So, and it's always at a greater volume, man. I don't know why they've gone back to that. So, yeah. Let's see here. But The Penguin is, I did not necessarily like the Batman or whatever they called it, Matt Reeves' Batman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was okay. I just thought it was clunky, and there were some facets that I really liked. I was like, wow, man, he really gets Batman. But then there were some things where I just thought it was unnecessary. But The Penguin is so much more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be another clunky whatever, but Oswald has a heart. I mean, he is a selfish bastard, but he does seem to care, and it doesn't always benefit him. So yeah, I mean, like, so that's been good. Michelle and I have both been enjoying that. Let's see here, this season, or why do they call it a collection? Is that but anyways, the Great British Baking Show.
Oh yeah,
but it's a collection instead of a season. So is that like uniform? Is that how?
No, it's over here. They generally call, so you'll have seasons. We have series. I mean, we tend to know what a season is, but they'll call it series 1, series 2, season 1, season 2.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Collection generally they don't. I mean, the Great British Bake Off, as it's called over here, is airing at the minute. The new series of that, or season.
Right.
And that's just what it's called. It'll run for 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it is. But Annette's a huge fan of that. I don't quite get it. I'm like, oh, whoa, they're making a quiche. Oh, it's bread. She got all excited last week because it was bread week, and I'm like, okay, each to their own, but I don't quite.
Right.
I don't get it, but I don't need to. I don't need to watch everything.
It is enjoyable for me and Michelle, but I've got to say, this season or collection, the fact that they have not overblown the chroma makes me happy. When you have so much oversaturated color, and especially in Prue's glasses and her lipstick, it just that's what really bugs the technical side of me. It's just like, why? But this year they've seemed to tame it down, so it's more normal and natural. So
I just the thing is with that show, because I'll see it by accident if Annette happens to be watching it, and I'll walk in the living room and somebody can bring out this amazing cake that looks like the entire set of Megalopolis. You're like, my God, that is stunning. How have you done that in 4 hours? That is amazing. And then Paula Holly would be like, yes, I don't like it. Shit.
It's
come
dodgy.
on,
Stodgy.
it's a bit dodgy. Look at this. It's like, oh, come on. I get it, but that's impressive.
Right. Yeah. And it's, if you really watch it, again, this is the editor point of view. when you're watching it and it says, hey, contestants or whatever, bakers, you have 5 minutes left. There is no way that they have done that much in 5 minutes. So they're, it's just like, oh, I forgot the tots, whatever. And then yeah, man, no, that did not happen in the last 5 minutes. But
no, that is
it
funky
gives you
editing.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, man. Let's see here. What else? Disclaimer. It's another Apple
Yeah,
TV.
I've seen the thing of that, and I like the look of it. I don't know too much about it, but it looks intriguing enough for me to go. When I get Apple, I will watch that, because I jump in and out of streamers. So
when you watch episode 1, just know that it is as fragmented as coming into a crime scene and not understanding what all the broken bits are.
Oh no.
Floor. In the second, well, I mean, because my I had different comments after season 1 getting ready for the show. I mean, episode 1. And then and I told Michelle, I don't even know that I want to watch episode 2. Then we watched episode 2, and it's almost like somebody in episode 1 was busy doing the thread through a whole bunch of different things, right? And then in episode 2, and then you see it formed, and you're like, oh, this is the connection between A, B, C, and D. And so now I'm intrigued, and I'll watch it every week. So, but
do you not think, though, I think that's an error that they do with TV, though.
Yeah.
It's like it would be the same with music. You put the first track on of a new album, or you listen to it, go, oh, this is awful. What is this? Oh, it's the first track. Once you get to the 7th one, it's really good. I ain't get to the 7th one. And with TV shows, especially with the first episode, if the first one is making your brain hurt and your nose bleed, a lot of people will go, I'm out, I'm done.
Yeah.
Forget it, and they won't go back.
The very kind person, I don't have my computer on, but the guy who gifted me the zip file of his album, and you had introduced me to him. So you need to ask him sometime why they don't front load the best songs. And all of his were good, but I mean, far too many albums. It's like one that sucks, and then the second one, oh well, okay, maybe I'll continue listening, and then the third is like, good grief, could you not do something original? And then number 4, suddenly it's awesome. So
I was trying to find his music. I do have it. I'm looking there. I have physical CDs. I'm guessing it was the NRX music.
That's it. That is it.
Chris
and
sent
I apologize that I couldn't remember the name of his band. So.
He will. Again, because I don't even know if it's a real word. I don't know what NRX means, but he will probably tell me. But no, I think he did a launch party for Thus Hell, which was the newest one he'd done. He is currently working on another one, which I'm very excited about. Nice. And he was in the chat room. So me being me, I'm like, well, I'll need to make sure everybody's asking him questions. So anytime somebody wasn't, I'm like, I got another one, just keep him talking. And I remember asking him, saying, how long did it take for you to choose the order of which tracks? And I can't remember what his answer was, but it was enough to sort of say he puts a lot of thought into the specific order of every single track, not just like, that'll do. There's a lot of work goes into that. So I think he's, and he and I will be podcasting again at some point in October. We did one, man. We did one a few weeks back. Well, probably a few months back, to be fair. And we have scheduled another one at some point. Yeah. So, but yeah, he's
looking forward to that.
Interesting guy, good musician.
When are you going to have Neil on again?
Well, he'll probably listen to this. So I'll do it when I'm not hanging around in the desert. He was out filming today. He sent me a nice little still shot of Tracy running around in the hot burning planet. So yeah, so he will.
I still think about my description of the movie before I knew Neil, before I knew Tracy and all that. And so not that I know Tracy, but I know of her now. But
I think Tracy's okay.
Planet, man.
Hot Chick on a Burning Planet. That will be her autobiography title, I suspect.
I want an
autograph. Would people get offended by that? I mean, I know Tracy doesn't because she laughs and whatnot about it, but are there people who go, how dare you call me a hot chick? I'm sure there are nowadays, because some people get offended at absolutely everything.
Dude, even 12, 15 years ago, I mean, like it's been a bit. And back when I was doing more conventions and film festivals, and I was part of this film group over in the big neighboring city over there. And Vanell would get on to me. It's like, you can't call women chicks. And I'm like, why? Why not? I mean, like,
No.
I call the guys dudes, so why not call the women chicks? I don't mean anything bad by it. I cannot keep up with everybody's name, especially when I was meeting 50 new people a night. And and yeah, man. So I'm like, dude, because I remember the face.
Hey, chick, how dare you?
And, no, really. How dare you remember me and not my name, sir? Okay, well, all right. So, but I don't know why. I mean,
no.
Yeah. I mean, like it could. I mean, people will forget my name, and this is before I had so much gray. But they'd be like, "Oh, hey, Tony Stark. Hey, you know what I mean?" Either that or David Prowse. Back a long time ago, he was at a convention, and I'm just walking by, and he goes, "Hey, big guy, Hercules, come here." And this is back when I lifted weights all the time, and I don't take offense to that. Thank you.
No.
I mean, yeah.
I think it becomes like an issue if people are going, "Hey, sloth out the Goonies." You're like, "Fuck you."
Right.
But if it's like Tony Stark or Hercules, you're like, "I'm all right with that. It's fine."
Man. Yo, Dad from Family Guys.
Hey, Ewok, Wicket, Jedi. Fuck you. So it depends what they're calling you, I think, as to whether.
Right.
But the chick thing, I don't get.
Yeah. What is funny? I will call Jake a happy leprechaun, especially if he's been drinking.
Yeah.
But yet I get offended when anyone else says, "Hey, leprechaun." Oh, hell no, you didn't.
Yeah, he's my leprechaun.
That's right.
Go get your own leprechaun that loves the wire.
Man. Go make fun of somebody you care about, you know? That chick, that dude, yeah. So. Oh, man. Let's see here. What else was on my list? Beetlejuice. You seen that one yet?
I have not seen that yet. Annette and I do want to watch that. She's a huge Beetlejuice fan.
Really, really good.
So that's on our list to watch.
Dude. Let's see here. I guess that's really it. Other than there's a TV series called From, and it has whatever his name is, something Perinow. I can't remember his name, but he was one of the guys that was on Lost. This is definitely a Lost-esque kind of show where, once you enter the town, just like getting on the island, you can't get off. You can't get out of here. So, but anyway, so saw the first episode and haven't been able to see any more. But I mean, it was good. I mean, it is what it is, man. Yeah. So
I'm
set
doing
your expectations realistically.
I'm doing a rewatch of the Battlestar Galactica from the 2000s.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
So I've watched the miniseries from 2003. I've watched all of season 1, and I'm just giving it a bit of a break before I jump back in to see. I like to alternate TV shows. So, but I'm enjoying watching it again. It's a solid TV show.
Oh yeah, man! And the score, the soundtrack to all those seasons and the miniseries. Really
I have those scores. So if you need them, let me know. They're very very good. Yeah.
Hey man. Yeah, that would work.
So what have I watched? Battlestar is pretty much the only TV shows. We've been trying to watch some horror movies, so I've gone full in on the Blair Witch Project. Annette and I have watched Poltergeist 2, Poltergeist 3, which she'd never seen either of those. And then we rewatched.
I just remember the little girl.
Yeah.
Got older, but yet didn't really. I mean, she still looked the same. It was just like someone had done the silly putty and made her taller. So we watched those, and then we watched the Poltergeist remake, which I'd seen before, and we enjoyed it. It was fine in 2015. That was good.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
So we watched that.
I don't think the clown was as creepy. I think that was my only complaint.
I think the film, it wasn't as creepy a film. I think they sort of shunted away from making the little girl the main star in there. It seemed to be more about the annoying little brother who you're like, ghosts, take him, because he's like, I'm scared of everything. Get out of it. So he was kind of annoying in the remake. But I enjoyed going back and watching the Craig T. Nelson, Heather Rourke, Joe Beth Williams films, because I do like those.
Yeah. And Toby Hooper, man. Everybody wants to credit Spielberg for directing it because there's a lot of Spielbergian moments, but no, it was Hooper.
I mean, that's Mick Garris and Joe Russo, who knew Tobe Hooper.
Yeah.
And Mick Garris, I think he was around the time when he was doing publicity for things like the Goonies and Gremlins, and he's like, no, Tobe Hooper directed that film. Spielberg might have been on set, just because he was a producer, but it wasn't. So anytime somebody says Spielberg directed, I'm like, I get all defensive. A bit like you with the Jake Leprechaun thing. You're like, no, Tobe Hooper did it. I don't know Tobe Hooper. I love Tobe Hooper's films, but I know people who knew Tobe Hooper, and I'm like, I'll defend him. So yeah, it's great films. I rewatched 1941. Do you remember that Spielberg one from 1979 about that comedy about the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Oh my gosh, man! Yeah, with Belushi.
Everybody.
Was
John
Aykroyd?
Candy, Aykroyd, Eddie Deason, all sorts. Crazy film.
I remember them trying hard with that, and I remember the audience reaction wasn't very kind.
Wasn't great.
But I think what's his name? Wilson Pickett, whoever the guy is.
Slim Pickens.
Swallowed the compass, and then they were like, So anyway, but I mean, like, we've heard his voice in so many different things, and that's my main memory. Other than Belushi getting out of an airplane or whatever and throwing his helmet down, I don't know, man.
Crazy film. I've
got it on Blu-ray, man. Yeah,
the cast
I've got it on Blu-ray, and we still haven't seen it. So
there's I'm guessing it'll be on the Blu-ray as well. There's like a 1 hour 40-minute making of. Which is really good as well. So yeah, I spent the afternoon again while Annette wasn't here, because there's no way I'm getting away watching 4 hours plus 1979 Spiel. It's not happening.
Right.
So I sat and watched that, which was fun. Yeah. I've watched Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Which Annette had like a crap day, so we'd been to view a house and we got the phone call going, you ain't got it. And we're like, oh.
Right. Yeah.
So Annette has this thing whenever something like less than positive happens, she just fed up. Right. So I'm going to put a film on that I know she likes. Yeah. And so I put it on in 4K. So it's like put the Blu-ray in, bang.
Wow, man.
So and I'm not
every raindrop.
Oh, everything. Well, milk drops because they use milk. For that, because it shows up on camera better. And I mentioned before I don't like musicals, but I'm like, I could tolerate it just to cheering it up. I will just I'll put it on. But I really enjoyed it, and it turns out I'd never seen it before. I thought I had. Yeah. But I've seen all the clips over the years.
Fred
so in my brain,
right?
Gene Kelly, Fred, I think
Kelly.
Debbie Reynolds, who looks like Carrie Fisher. You're like, Jesus. Yeah. It's like, or the other way around. Right. And I thought I'd seen it before, but it turns out I hadn't, because the whole beginning part, I'm like, I don't remember any of this. Yeah. And then it got to the Singing in the Rain bit, and I'm like, I remember this bit. And then it got to the bit where they were dancing and flipping a couch over. I'm like, I remember that bit. But I'd never seen the film in its entirety. But
I may not have either, because I'm with you, man. Musicals up until a good friend of mine who used to work for Disney, now he works for Warner Brothers, but I was out visiting him in California, and I don't know why I felt the need to preface that, but just to give Tony props, because it took a lot. I just was never into musicals, and Tony was like, man, if you haven't seen Moulin Rouge, let's watch it. This is right after we watched Akira, the animated movie, and that was really good. And he was like, dude, we've got to watch Moulin Rouge. And so I was like, okay, and put it on, and damn if it wasn't amazing. Yeah. And so, so I mean, I've got it on both DVD and Blu-ray, and periodically. I mean, I've probably watched it a dozen times over the years. So, but it's funny how, it's musicals were not my thing. So I may not have watched Singing in the Rain. Or is it Dancing in the Rain? Whatever.
Singing in the Rain. Yeah.
There you go.
But I thought I had. Turned out I hadn't. So now I have. The other thing that I watched a couple of documentaries, and they're the sort of sequels. One of them came out in 2016, I think it was. The other one was 2019, called VHS Massacre. So the first one was called VHS Massacre. The second one was called VHS Massacre 2, as in like TOO, not the number 2.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And the first one was just basically, it's like if we made a documentary, we're going to make a documentary about podcasting or the cool guns you've got on the back wall, or sort of thing. Right. And it's an amateurish documentary, but it works with stuff like that. And it was about the decline of physical media, which is a subject that fascinates me because it's like I've been worked in video stores and all that sort of stuff. And then I went into the second one. I'm like, I'm guessing this is going to be a continuation of the decline of physical media. And it kind of wasn't. This was the decline of indie filmmakers and indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
And they're interviewing like Lloyd Kaufman, and Joe Bob Briggs is on it. And the Lloyd Kaufman stuff's fascinating because he's like, yeah, the studios are the ones that are trying to take out indie filmmakers.
Yeah.
And they did it with Blockbuster, where Blockbuster was a thing. And then the studios, Paramount mainly, teamed up with Blockbuster going, hey, we'll give you all these films for free. You just kick back some of the revenue. And that was what took out a lot of the indie video stores and stopped the indie filmmakers. You know, you'd never go into Blockbuster and see a copy of the Erotic Witch Project, for example, which is a real film. I've seen it. It's terrible. It's really a film. Instead of a pile of twigs, it's dildos that get left outside the tent. It's awful film. But you would never get that in Blockbuster.
Right.
And it was a fascinating documentary and this was a few years ago. And you go, it's kind of got worse with the whole decline and the rise of streaming and stuff. So check out the VHS Massacre documentary. I think they're on Amazon.
Okay.
But they're worth watching, not only from a geek point of view, but also from a filmmaker point of view as well.
Yeah.
So I watched both of those.
It's interesting how quickly streaming services can either rise to the top and stay there. Netflix. You remember a streaming service called Crackle?
Yeah, we used to have it over here, and then it just went away.
Well, and it's gone away over here too. The people who it was Chicken Soup for the Soul. They decided they were going to start Crackle, and then they bought Redbox, and then they were like, I don't know, 300 to 600 billion in debt, and that was it, man. So I mean, Crackle. I don't know what happened to some of Crackle shows, but they had some original content, which I'm sure somebody's going to pick up somewhere along the way. But I think it was. It had the dude who was in Harry Potter, who was also in what was it? Not The Babysitter, but and it wasn't The Nanny. It was that Apple TV show that M. Night did. The redheaded guy. Anyway, I'm spacing on names and stuff.
Yeah,
but anyway,
Rupert Grint.
But but he was in. It was almost like in the same world as Snatch. And it was good. I mean, like, and they have multiple seasons, and I don't know where that landed. So, but it's interesting. I mean, you think about Redbox. You were talking about Blockbuster, and Redbox was. I mean, that was big because you didn't need to go to a store. You could just, go down the digital menu and drop that physical media, and then you could forget about it, and then get charged for the whole thing. But that's gone too, man. So
it's kind of like people say to me now and again, would you ever open another video store? And it's like, I'd love to, but it wouldn't last 5 minutes.
No,
people are too lazy. They're like, I don't want to. People now don't. I don't want to put a disc in. It's like, really, how hard is it to put a disc in? But they don't.
Yeah.
Are they really going to go out in the rain to take a film back? Are they crappers like?
No, and I mean, like, you can get a new movie for like $30. So, I mean, it's not like it used to be. You remember what VHS movies costed originally, and it was like $75 to $100. And this one dude came into the video store that I worked at when I was in college, and he was like, well, I won't put a used VHS in my VHS player. It has to be new. I'm like, all right. And he's like, I don't know if this is a good movie or not, but he wanted to order it. And I was like, dude, just rent it for $5. No, I want to buy it. So it's like $80, man.
I was paying.
We got it in, and
back in the early 2000s. I mean, I've been in the video store for a bunch of years by then, but back in the early 2000s, I was still paying about $50 per VHS per copy.
Wow, man.
And then you've got to try and rent those out for like $2.50 a night, $3 a night, or whatever. Like, you've really got to know your film stuff about what works and what didn't. A lot of my knowledge did work. Let me just put a copy of Gus Van Sant's Psycho in there. That'll do well. That didn't work. That did not make me a fortune. Not a lot of money. People looked at it and went, I'm not watching that. But but it was you really had to know your stuff as to or you could just spend hundreds of dollars on films for a month and then bang, you didn't make anything. You're like, oh no.
Right. Well, that and then VHS has a limited amount of plays, and
Yeah.
if it just sits on the shelf too long, or I guess if somebody comes through with a magnet and just goes, then yeah, man, there goes your inventory. I don't know why these things
Yeah.
won't work. So
I did, and it's not on YouTube, and I always thought about putting it on YouTube, but I did a bunch of podcast episodes, probably only like a year ago, which were the video store ones, and it went from when I was a kid, when I went into one as a teenager, when I started working at one, when I became the manager of one, and then when I bought one and then closed it down.
Yeah.
And it was like this 6-episode series, but it covers everything, as in like even the stuff I shouldn't have done, which is why I've not put it on YouTube. I don't really want like clips. I know this is probably going to go on YouTube, but I don't really, you know. And what I used to do is somehow fiddle the till so that I could buy more films for the shop. I don't really want that on YouTube too much.
Right.
But it was interesting. It went into everything. And it was, I'm quite proud of that little mini series that I did. So.
Wow, man. Well, if that's ever unlisted and you want to send me a link, that would be fun.
I might actually. Yeah. I'll put it up there, unlist it, and then have a listen. And then you can decide whether, legally you might not want to put that on there. I mean, to be fair, all of this stuff was 21, 22 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think the statute of limitation, skimming the till so you can make your bosses more money.
Right.
has probably passed. So it didn't go into my pocket, it went into the shops. So
I gotcha. Yeah, man. So you can always just say it wasn't your idea, right?
It wasn't. Yeah, they gave me permission to do that. They did.
Right. Dude, the VHS, I mean, well, that was all that there was back in the I guess it was the mid 80s. And so the place that I was working at, they would buy one movie and then make multiple copies and then put a sticker on there. And the only thing was that, it wasn't quite as good a copy, but it was also in mono. So that was the dead giveaway. And it just didn't have that, I bought it smell. But anyway, that was how they stayed in business was,
You had to fight as an independent video store thing. You really had to cut corners and all that, because customers don't give a crap.
Yeah.
They're like, I just want what I want for as cheap as possible. I don't care whether you're, whatever. So you had to do some battle. I went to war with Warner Brothers back then, which is all in it. I was part of a group that literally went to war with Warner Brothers. So it's like, oh God. So I'll turn that into a video and then send you an unlisted link so you can have a laugh.
All right, that sounds good, man.
So we do need to finish off our Star Wars thing.
Yeah, man. Which, by the way, Blandine, who is a fan of the show
and has been for many years, she's like the longest listener. I love her. She's amazing.
So she was asking about your short film and how she could see it.
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, I might. It's still in a work print form.
Gotcha.
So it does exist in a work print form, and you know how rough those damn things are.
Oh yeah.
And I just still can't. I know it's never going to get finished.
Yeah.
Because it's been way too long and all that sort of stuff. I'm still toying with the idea of using all the footage as part of a documentary. Yeah. Because Neil and I sat down and I've got at least an hour's worth of Neil quizzing me and me filming myself on a 4K camera, and then I can cut things in. So that's on my list. And then I think Neil and I were planning at some point to sit down and go, right, let's do the production side of things. And then I can cut things into that. So I think realistically, that's probably going to be the way that it comes out. And then at the end of it, I'll probably put this is the rough what it looks like. But it's never going to get finished. It's been way too long. There's been too many speed bumps and stuff. But I think it's nice that Blandine's asked about it. It's cool.
Yeah, man.
It does still bother me that I never managed to finish it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, how these things work. Sometimes there are things which are totally out of your control, and you can't literally kidnap somebody and say, let's finish a film.
Right.
I'm also pondering doing an experience in Comic-Con 2. I was lying in bed the
that'd
other
be
night
fun,
going,
man.
what can I do? And I've got enough
Yeah.
stuff that I could put together a kind of sequel without actually
Yeah.
going anywhere because I've already been in those places. So that's also, I'm trying to build up some winter projects,
Yeah.
you know, because the weather sucks. I don't go out anywhere. Right. What can I do? And I think the Mimi short film documentary, whatever it is, could be one. Comic-Con could be number 2. And then obviously the publicity thing that I started up.
Yeah, man.
Yes, everybody, I've started up a publicity company.
I meant to ask about that on the start of the show, man.
So here's a tip. If ever your email inbox is flooded with people going, John, do this, John, do that, John, do this, John, do that, and you want it to stop, just go, I'll do that, but I'm going to charge you. And then you're like, where did everybody go? Why is my email working? For some reason, I'm not getting as many people asking me to do stuff. And I always knew that would happen anyway. And to be honest, I'm okay with that. I'm not sitting here going, oh, nobody's asking me to do stuff for free anymore. I'm good. So I am. But it's noticeably like, hello. But it's fine. Gotcha. So yes, so get my winter projects all lined up. So I do have a few. Man.
Yeah.
But we did Star Wars.
Yes.
We did Empire. So we do need to close it out with Jedi, I think.
Yes.
I'm pondering. I don't know what your thoughts on it. I don't want to do all the Star Wars films. There's like 12 of them. You go, what was it like when you watched Solo? You're like, oh, I watched it like 2 years ago. It's fine. I remember it well. It's fine. I liked it.
But you know, when you want to do the Phantom Menace,
I was thinking that the Phantom Menace.
Dude, I'm down with the prequels too, because that was, to my kids, that was their Star Wars. Kind of like for me and you, it was the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And so they had already seen the original trilogy in the order that they were released. And then they watched the prequels. And so, yeah, man, I mean, like that'd be fun to talk about too. But I keep thinking Revenge of the Nerds, but it's Return of the Jedi.
Well, it was Revenge of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Which I remember. You know, people, it was never called that. It's like, it was called that. It was called, do you know it was called that up until like 6 months before the film came out?
Yeah.
Because I had to Google it. I Googled it last night. I'm like, when did they change the name? I knew they did. And I remember seeing the posters up, and there was loads of bootleg T-shirts and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then it was like, oh no, it's now called Return of the Jedi, because Jedis would never do revenge. And you're like, I'm not sure if that's why you changed the name. I think you changed the name to sort of cut the legs off all the bootleggers. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the reason.
Yep.
But there was a teaser trailer. Yeah. But there was a teaser trailer that came out in December 1982, and that had Revenge of the Jedi on it.
Really?
And the film itself came out in May 1983, so it was only 6 months.
Wow, man. Yeah. And that took a lot of effort back then, because now, going back to our conversation about digital, like physical media versus digital media. And now, man, you can make changes up to the point it's digitally released. Yeah. And you can then change the artwork. And then, of course, Netflix can have 15 thumbnails that mislead you about what to watch.
Yeah, oh, look, Bryan Cranston's in it. No, he's not. It's Japanese.
That's it.
People watching that part on the Star Wars channel are going to be like, "Whoa, what the hell's Bryan Cranston going to do with this?" But
really.
Check out the full podcast.
This guy must be from Waxing Cinematic. Yeah.
I may link to the From Page to Screen YouTube channel on the end of the Star Wars one, so people can just jump over there.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, Jedi. So we're going back to 83, 82. So we'd watched Empire.
Yeah. Right.
I remember coming out of Empire going, "Are we getting another one?" When are we getting another one? And there was no internet. You couldn't check. You couldn't find out when you were getting another one. Yeah. But they obviously quickly put it into production because of the sheer amount of money it was making. Yeah. But I can't remember the first time I heard about Revenge of the Jedi was going to be a thing. Have you got any memories on that? Or it just sort of popped up and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, like, so going back to Empire, we were left with, I don't think we knew that there was another, you know what I mean? But we didn't know who that was. We didn't know that Luke and Leia were siblings.
No, because they had a
And
nice big
so,
smooch, didn't they? Which was,
yeah. Which
nice for a brother and
Jake and I
sister.
remember that. Yeah, Jake and I remember that differently. I just remember like a little peck, and Jake was like, "Oh no, man, there were tongues," and I'm like,
No, I think it
"What?
was maybe
What?"
like a 2 second, and then Luke does that, doesn't he? He's like,
Right? Oh yeah,
and then
man.
Luke's at
Couldn't
hard, and
take
you're like, it's
that
more
hot.
that that's
Yeah.
disturbing than the actual kiss or whatever.
Right. But I mean, I guess the Metachlorians didn't let him know. But yeah, Return of the Jedi, man. I don't remember when I heard about it. And the only place to see trailers back in the day were in the movie theater. So if there
Yeah.
weren't movies leading up to that, then how did we even know? I mean, like, I don't remember seeing any. There was so much buzz with the first two movies. Shh, Lily. Sorry, we have a Lily. She thinks she thinks she hears something, but there's nothing. So,
Some things in the
yes,
Force, like
I
1,000
yes,
puppies just cried out in anguish.
that's right. So anyway, as she runs around the house and barks, I just I was trying to think what the like my first impressions or memory. I mean, like everything else, I was so looking forward to going and seeing it, and I was looking forward to this. But yeah, it was just kind of like, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
Lucas did another film. What do you think? Kind of thing.
Well, I mean, go
So
back to the 80s or so. We had Empire in 1980.
yeah,
Then the world got took over by Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1981,
right.
and that would have
Which
been in cinema for months.
did you find that insulting on any level, that it's just like, wait a minute, Spielberg is taking George Lucas's actor? What in the world? Because I don't remember Harrison Ford before Star Wars. I know he was in American Graffiti, which I
Yeah.
still admittedly have not seen.
Oh, it's in my top 100. It is a
Oh, really?
really, really good film. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would watch
But
that.
it was funny when that came out, and I was just like, I don't know, my brain for some reason was just like, well, I thought he was with Lucas anyway.
Well,
And
he
of
was in
course, it didn't
Apocalypse Now
matter.
as well, was Harrison. He had a small role in Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, I didn't
So I'd seen
see
it
that until much later.
in
Yeah.
bits. But yeah,
Yeah.
81 you had Raiders, 82 obviously E.T.
Yeah.
Should have been
Right.
John Carpenter's The Thing, but that didn't happen. But everything was E.T. 82,
Right.
83, whatever was Rocky, and so there were a lot of films coming out, and then
Yeah.
bang, we get this
Yep.
Return of the Jedi. I think the first I saw of it was probably some still pictures in like Starlog or Starburst or something like that in a magazine.
Right.
And then the toys. I remember the
Yeah.
Kenner toys, the figures were out, and on the back, so it would show you all the figures that you could get from the Jedi
Yeah.
range that was coming up. But they'd
Yeah.
blacked out the Ewoks. So it looked like,
Yeah.
if you were to take a lighter and burn out like a picture, they were
Right.
like that. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell? You could see the name of it, it's like Wicket or whatever it was, but you couldn't
Oh,
see
yeah.
what the Ewok
Yeah.
looked like because they were protecting
Right.
it for the film. So I think those were my early things. And
Yeah.
then obviously the teaser posters, which I did see Revenge of the Jedi ones,
Right.
which then became Return of the Jedi one. But my God, I was so excited to watch.
Yeah.
Just to watch the conclusion, because it drove me insane about, did Vader, what father? No, that can't happen. I was a little bit too obsessed with that problem when I was 12. So I should have been bothering about other stuff, but I'm like, no, I need to know the thing. So,
Right.
and I was there on opening night, which we got it in June 83.
Yeah.
So we got it, I think, like 6-7 days after the US got it. So thankfully it wasn't too much wait, but
Yeah. So what was your first impression of the Ewoks?
I didn't mind the Ewoks. I've never had an issue with the Ewoks because to me, people go, "Oh, teddy bears overthrowing the Empire." That never happened. I'm like, no, it's the same as Rocky IV. Drago Using all his technology in his nice posh gym. Rocky is running up hills and pulling up rocks. It's like it's the arrogance of using technology. Oh, we don't have to worry about the Ewoks. We've got Scout Walkers. Well, you kind of do have to worry about Ewoks because they can string logs together that will squish you. So I never had an issue with Ewoks. Never. I have an issue with the blinking Ewoks in the special editions. I'm not a huge fan of the tinkering.
Well, that and the zipper removal,
Yeah, it's like, just leave it in there. It's
Yeah.
You know, I like watching it as a 1983 film, not as something that's
Yeah.
got the year 2000s special effects and stuff in it. But what about you? Were
Yeah.
you an Ewok hater? You didn't mind them?
Dude, I was 100% sold on Star Wars, so they could have looked far worse, and I would have
Mhm.
said, yes, Ewoks. Speeder bikes, man, those
Oh,
were very, very fun. And the biker scouts, man, those were
yeah.
probably some of my favorite helmets, which I'm not going to flip the camera around, but I did like during that big Amazon sale, like, well, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. They had those for like $50 less than they normally
Wow.
run for. So that's on my wall now, man.
This
But
should
that's
be
one of
on
my
your
favorite.
YouTube channel. You see?
I
You see
know, really,
that?
man. And unboxing, right?
Yeah, yeah. But with the
Yeah.
speeder bikes, though, it's like whenever you're on an actual bike,
Yeah.
please, you're like, this is a speeder bike. I was.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
just like, I was
Yeah.
totally bought into the whole Star Wars world. Broom
Yeah.
handles for lightsabers and everything,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep. And the seeing the behind the scenes stuff of how they, walking through the forest that was to be indoor, walking through the forest with a steady cam, and
Yeah.
then having to put everything else in there, put it all together. Man, it's just, I mean, like that was awesome, and it was exciting, man. And I guess in a way, that was like the pod racing for my kids in episode one. It was just exciting and all these close almost colliding with trees and all that
Yeah, yeah.
stuff, man. It was fun, man. And you think about how many times we have seen that spoofed. I mean, we've seen Neo's bullet time in so many
Mhm.
different movies, but even what was it, hundreds of beavers or whatever that ridiculous
Which
movie
I haven't watched
even
it. Yeah.
even that has a speeder bike sequence that is,
Mhm.
it is just like, yes, we're nerds, yes, we love Star Wars. So it felt overall, I think the movie felt a little more relaxed, like
Yeah.
Han was more comfortable being himself, which, I mean, as a character he had grown. And Leia was even more headstrong and confident. And, I mean, like Luke, was trying to save his dad. I mean, there was a lot of good points in there. I don't know that I remember as many details about that movie as I do the original Star Wars or even
Really?
Empire. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, like thinking about it, and there was so many cool things. From his battle with his dad, that was cool.
It
Um,
has one of the best shots in the Star Wars, all of them, where the
yeah,
John Williams music kicks in and they're panning from left to right, and it's just
yeah,
after Luke's like, no,
yeah,
and that
right,
shot, I love that shot. It is
yeah.
perfect.
And it was really good writing in the way that, they were trying to bait Luke into, giving into the dark side. He had
Yeah,
become a much more powerful Jedi.
yeah.
And but it's like, all right, so what about your sister? Yeah, and it was,
No,
yeah. And
it
then
worked.
strike me down. I mean, it was some cool stuff,
A lot of
man.
my favorite moments from the Star Wars trilogy, or not just the trilogy, but the whole
Yeah,
thing of Star Wars. A lot of
yeah,
them are in Jedi. With the opening when Shuttle Tydirium pulls in, and that whole sea
yeah.
of
Oh
stormtroopers, like
yeah.
that is
Yep.
a cool opening to a film.
Yeah.
Wow, they've learned a lot since they were making Empire and
Yeah.
Star Wars and stuff. Obviously, Star
Yep.
Wars had become New Hope by that time, but uh,
And I think part of the magic in the original trilogy is the there was no CG. Now,
no,
granted, when he did the reissue or whatever, that's a different story. But I mean, the
yeah,
fact that they had to figure out how to pull all these shots off, how to take us to these different lands. And so that always gave me something to think about. How, and same thing with Battlestar Galactica, the original series.
mm,
There was no CG, man. I think that's another bit of movie magic that we've lost over the years, in that, it's CG. whatever, man. Hey, Dune, man, it's really cool. Yeah, I mean, he's running through the desert, which is not real. And then you've got these big worms that aren't real. They're not practical. And so there's this discount that and I think Lucas was still trying to prove himself. Industrial Light and Magic certainly was. Yeah, man. And Skywalker sound. I can't remember when that became a thing, but
yeah,
man. Yeah.
But there's one shot there's a lot of shots, but there's one shot in Jedi where it's just a sea of ships in that Death Star battle, and it's probably only 3-4 seconds long or something to be like, that's impressive. And if you go back and watch that on the theatrical version, knowing that that's the one that was released in '83, that's insane, the amount of work that went into. Now you watch it on Blu-ray, you're like, I don't even know if that is CG or practical or whatever. So it removes the whole, wow, that was done in 1983 angle.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate enough to have the theatrical versions, and you're like, they are still insanely impressive.
Yeah.
Really good stuff.
So did it ever, and this is something I read within the last year, but it never crossed my mind up until somebody posed the question. How did the Ewoks have a dress that fit Leia? Boom. I mean, I have no answer for that, but I mean, and then what if 3PO wasn't there? Then these cannibals who just dressed Leia in Woodland outfit would have eaten Luke and Han.
Yeah. I think the dress thing, with maybe some Ewok seamstresses there that were pretty quick.
Lightning fast, man.
Lightning fast. Gotcha. Or maybe, if you, I don't know whether they're canon or not, the Ewok movies, but there were humans. There was humans in that, little blonde-haired humans, whatever. So maybe they'd met humans before. Maybe they'd eaten one of them and that was her dress. I don't know.
Yeah. So did you watch the Ewok animated series?
I've not seen I do have the animated one, but I've not seen them. No.
I have not either. And I found a animation cell. I think I put it back in the safe. But anyway, I don't even know where I got this thing. You were
telling me a story at one point where somebody sent it to you because you knew them and they were like, have it. You're like, all right.
Yeah. But I was going to send it to somebody if I could figure out how to send it to this lady who collects them because, I mean, and yes, I did Google it and it seems like it's worth maybe $50 or whatever. But I mean, if it would bring this lady some joy to add one more to her, string of like 200, then man, I'm down with that.
Definitely.
But I don't know who passed it to me. And my buddy who did animation for Disney was the one who said, oh, I think that's such and such a character from the Ewok animated series. But anyway, all these things came from Return of the Jedi.
It did. There was a droids cartoon and Ewoks and 2 movies, 2 TV movies. One which got shown at the cinema over here. I don't know which one it was, whether it was Battle for Endor or Caravan of Courage. Can't remember because I didn't go watch it. But but I was obsessed with Jedi. And then just the trilogy of films I would just constantly rewatch, whether it's from recorded TV broadcasts or eventually, which my mind was blown when these were released onto VHS. It was years after. So I'm guessing it was just constant cinema releases that I would watch these things on.
And Lucas would do that even before the special editions.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, hey, here's your chance. Yeah.
I saw a double bill with Star Wars and Empire. I saw the triple bill with Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. Stayed in there, watched it twice. 12 hours I was in there. Amazing. Love it.
Wow, man. So what was your thought when Han is ready to concede and just like, I know you've got feelings for Luke, right? And Leia is just like, you're a dumbass. You're a moron. He's my brother. But wait, you kissed him. So I
like his look. I like his I really want to ask more about this story, but at the end of the day, I don't care because I may jeopardize my chances. So he does this little look. He's like, okay, that sort of thing. And I think that's brilliant. And it's little hints of the Harrison that we would see in the Indiana Jones movie. So that's sort of like, I'm not going to ask. Right. But I liked it. I don't think I have, certainly the theatrical version, so I have no issues with any. Maybe I was a little bit like, okay, Vader turned good all of a sudden. That was a bit fast. Evil, evil, evil. Get off my son. Like what? So maybe that's a slight, really tiny nitpick. But other than that, I was just, nowadays people would come out of Jedi go, and they'd have all the big lists of plot holes and stuff. It's like, as a kid, 12 years old, I didn't care. I'm like, I've just seen the best movie ever, and I want to go back in and watch it again. And I probably did.
Yeah. Dude, it was a gift. Every Star Wars movie, both the original and the prequels, they were all gifts. I mean, whether I remember, and we'll get into it more when we, do the episode 1 Phantom Menace episode. But I mean, like, I was a little insulted. It's kind of like, so you're going to mansplain the Force? I mean, like metachlorians and all this stuff. And so, but then, but it was still a gift. And so then on rewatch, it was a whole lot better. I used to make fun of Anakin's poor acting. You are a space angel.
Yippee!
That's not even the way he said that.
Yippee! It's like, oh.
But I mean, I don't remember ever making fun of the original trilogy. And I think
there's nothing to make fun of, I don't think. For me, anyway, it's like there was nothing in here that I could go, well, actually, that's kind of hokey or weird. Nothing at all.
So what collectibles did you grab for Return?
Lots. I had loads of the figures. I had lots of them. I used to take the polystyrene packaging out of things that got delivered to the house, and I would turn that into a Hoth base and just make like a Jabba's palace, because there wasn't really a proper kit that you could buy a Jabba's palace one. But I had those. There was an X-wing. Never had a TIE fighter, unfortunately. I did Jedi time have an AT-AT, which I still think that is the coolest model.
Man.
So I had a lot of them. I had a lot of the posters. My wall was just covered. I was obsessed with the Jedi and the whole Star Wars trilogy. I had the soundtracks, the double album. Yeah, a lot of them.
So that was back when posters went on the wall with thumbtacks, right? And we didn't think about it. And then if we wanted the soundtrack, that was vinyl. And you could see the art. It was so beautiful. And then you would hear every imperfection in the vinyl. But I mean, it would always take me back to, to the movie. I could re-experience it. Kind of like you and I have discussed Close Encounters of the Third Kind as well. There's just something magical about that score. And again, I mean, it's Williams. It's his work. So, man. But I remember I'd never collected any lightsabers until I want to say that was like the prequels. But I had a Han Solo blaster. I was trying to think what else. And it's funny, you had an X-wing fighter. I had two TIE fighters that went with the little figures. So there was Darth Vader's and then just a regular Imperial TIE fighter, whatever that was. And then I don't think I had any. I did have like some models. I'll take some pictures and post them because they are. I mean, I even have this one store was going out of business, and so I bought like 2 of every model. They were like $1 a piece. And so I built one, and the other is still in the box. I don't know if they're worth anything or not. And so I was trying to think of what else, man. It's interesting when you, because I've always wanted a C-3PO head. Not that I would put it on, but I mean, I think that would be a cool addition to my collection. And doing research on it, it's like, oh, well, so, which version, from
like,
New Hope or
it's not the Phantom Menace one. The Phantom Menace one's a bit crap, isn't it? Because he's not even finished. I don't want that one.
Yeah. But that was an interesting rig, man. That guy who was the puppeteer, man.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else, man. I've got do you have a favorite spaceship from Star Wars?
I think Jedi. I'm going Shuttle Tidarium. The the one that
Yeah.
Vader comes in on at the beginning, or the Emperor comes in at the beginning. I like that ship. The AT-AT from Empire. I think if it was a fight between Tydirium and the AT-AT probably would win.
Yeah.
But I do like Tydirium. I like the Snowspeeder.
Yeah.
So I think I have a tiny little. No, I don't. I thought I had a Snowspeeder. I don't. I've got a Slave one and a Millennium Falcon.
I hear you. Yeah.
I've got those. But what about yourself? Is there a favorite? Is there a standout one for you?
I guess I will forever be a Millennium Falcon guy. But
I got one. That's my little Millennium Falcon there.
Oh, dude.
Tiny one. Yeah.
I think I've got that one. I mean, like, I did that. It was at lunch weeks and weeks ago where I was thinking, which do I have more of, Spider-Man or Deadpool? And turns out it was Batman, which Michelle goes, well, that's who you are in your heart, is Batman. Yes. So, but as far as like my collection of spaceships, it's probably, and I'll have to look out in we have a side room on the garage, and that has some models and stuff in it too. But I think the Millennium Falcon would win. But the Slave One is another one, whether it's
pretty good.
Which version of the Slave One, as far as like Jango Fett versus Boba Fett.
Probably go Boba Fett. Yeah, they both look similar, but I would always, if there's a choice between like the prequel trilogy and the sequel trilogy, I will always go original trilogy if there's that option on the menu, I think, for me personally.
Well, and I think he had a good plan. Make it look like an old junker, have the panels being different, and there's two friends of mine who, one of them owned a string of restaurants, and he drove around in some beat up old Pinto. I mean, like it was, but he said that way when he came and went from work or wherever he went, no one asked him for money. Nobody wanted anything. And so, yeah, man, I mean, like that's smart. But so I think Boba Fett kind of had that going on. I still think it's funny that you could keep, like when we were watching The Mandalorian, the Beskar would stop a lightsaber, right? Mm-hmm. But yet somehow Boba Fett got a big dent in the helmet. So, and I mean, from what I understand, that came from when they did the original mold, there was some bubble or whatever. So they decided, hey, let's just make it into a dent. I don't know why they wouldn't have created a new one, man. I mean, you're only Industrial Light and Magic. Yeah. But yeah, man. So if you have a favorite spaceship of all time, not, even outside of Star Wars, and I know
it may be the 1701D from Next Generation, the Enterprise, possibly. I do like the Colonial Vipers from the original Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
they're fine from the remake one, but I like the original ones.
Yeah,
out of pure nostalgia. Or possibly the USS Cygnus from the Black Hole. I think was a cool looking ship. God, I need to I'm just pure geek.
So probably, oh my goodness, my favorite ship is probably this one from The Expanse.
Wow, yeah,
because it was so simple, and was built using like real world physics best they could.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, like The Expanse, I still miss that TV show.
I was never a huge fan of was it the B-Wing out of Jedi? Like just the skinny one that looked like a.
Yep.
That's all that about. I'd be like, John, you're flying an X-wing. Yes. You're flying a Y-wing. Yes. You're flying the B-Wing.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
Right.
I don't want to fly the B. They're not a cool looking ship. Those things, really.
What was the one from? I can't remember if it was the prequels or it was the sequels, but they, instead of just having the X, it was like they had 3 wings. It was just like all spread out.
Yeah, I remember seeing. I think that was from the prequels.
Yeah, so that was kind of weird. I mean, there was one guy I expressed my love of Star Wars, and this jackass was like, "Well, the X-wings never would have flown." Really? I don't care, man. I mean, like, they were still badass. I mean,
I'd be like, but they did, because I've got them on VHS. Because I recorded it, cut the adverts out, with the pause button.
Right.
They flew.
Dude, that's a passion for Star Wars right there, man. Cutting out all those commercials.
And then obviously Jedi ended, and it was like, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think there ever was, are we going to get any more Star Wars films? I think we just generally came out of the third one going, that was an amazing trilogy. I'm just going to queue up and watch them again or whatever. There was never like, we need more, we need more. There's so many unanswered questions. I don't think there were any. I think we were happy to just enjoy what we enjoyed. They did wrap it up really well.
And two, I think, with each one, I don't know that Lucas knew that he was going to make another one. I know the first one was done, and then it's like, okay, now we can make the second one, but I don't think the third one was really was guaranteed. And so, but I mean, the fact that he did wrap it all up in the end, I mean, like, if they're plot holes, I don't care,
I genuinely struggle. If you said, tell me some plot holes in the original trilogy, I'd have to sit down for a little bit and go, let me try and think of some. There's nothing that glares. I'm sure Star Wars fans watching this will be like, what about that one? I don't know.
Right.
I'm okay with plot holes, because it's like, we don't know everything that's going on in everybody's life. Is that a plot hole? Or is that just an unanswered question that we haven't been fed the answer? I don't need things feeding.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you were watching 24. Did you ever wonder when Jack went to the bathroom?
Oh, I knew when
because
it was
he was always on the road, man.
When it was showing the bad guys, he was just peeing in a bottle or whatever during the ad breaks, because there were ad breaks.
That's a police song, isn't it?
Yes.
Peeing in a bottle.
I think it is. Yeah, they changed the lyrics thankfully, but that's pretty much. But yeah, everything was wrapped up. And I spent at least a couple of years after that playing with Star Wars figures and just being obsessed in that world. And it's fun. I do miss those times. I didn't. My childhood kind of sucked, but the movie watching side of it was amazing. And it's just, I'm really glad I lived through the time. I'd like to have been a little older so that I could have appreciated Star Wars, the first one, in theaters when it came out. But I got to fully appreciate Empire, definitely Jedi, when it came out. I was the prime age, like 12 years old, to watch Ewoks and Jabba the Hutt and Rancors and all that sort of stuff. That poor old Rancor keeper, crying his eyes out. Pet got killed.
So in Book of Boba Fett, did you like that he rode on a Rancor? I mean, did you like that he adopted this beast? And man.
Yeah, it kind of worked.
Yeah.
But so it's because a lot of people now, I mean, you see a lot of the Star Wars fans now, they probably weren't even around when the original trilogy, but yet and I'm sure it's not all of them, but a lot of them take ownership over, you don't understand Star Wars. We do, because we were there when the whole damn thing began, and it ended after the third film, and then that was it, other than the Ewok movies, which would come around a couple of years later, and that was it. There was I don't even think there was any novels other than the novelizations. I don't think they were until...
They were not all that accurate. I remember buying Empire Strikes Back, and I still have it. And but I was reading through it, and then it was like when Leia says, "I love you," and Han answers, "I love you too." And I'm like, "What?" That was when I put it down. I was like, now Michelle's home. Now she's got something. Now
she's got a reason to bark for.
Yeah. And of course, she's not going upstairs. She's staying down here. I'm going to say that she's protecting me, but she may be just wanting me to leap over the couch if something, comes around the corner. So.
Possibly. But it was fun times. Jedi's still my favorite Star Wars film. And I think nostalgia has a lot of, nostalgia does hold a lot of power as to what makes a film a good film.
And I think pacing, it was more even. I still enjoy New Hope, but I mean, it was much slower, which that was what made me love Mandalorian so much, was that pacing. But I think Jedi certainly, it had a faster pacing to it. But it is funny. I was thinking just yesterday, because I knew we were going to talk about this, and I was like, it almost, it's almost like a time traveler, you know what I mean? Where we're talking about a movie that, like you say, most people weren't even alive to see.
No, they weren't.
Yeah. It's kind of like when Jake talks about Terminator maybe it was even Terminator 2. I think it was 2 when Terminator 2 came out, but Terminator 1, he wasn't even around.
No.
But I mean, I remember seeing that in the theater. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Uh,
it's like that joke where hi, I'm John. I'm a time traveler from the 19th century. When
yes.
you separate it out that much, it's I don't know. I mean, it's like, I guess in another 20 years, then the kids will be like going, yeah, you remember back in 16? And
Yeah, of
that
course.
makes me think about when I wasn't alive back and it was 1916. But I mean, I'm
Yeah.
thinking Wright brothers. I'm thinking, so yeah.
And that's why I wanted to do these, certainly the original trilogy. And I was always thinking Phantom Menace would fit into that as well.
Hmm.
It is like time travel because we've talked
Yeah.
about seeing things, there was no internet. We saw a picture in a
Right.
magazine and we queued up
Yeah.
outside and all this sort of stuff. And I think a lot of people who were not even around back then might listen to this and go, wow, how old are these dudes? How old are
Yeah.
these chicks, dudes,
Probably.
whatever.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
and find it interesting. But I love sort of
Yeah.
mentally taking a trip back to
Yeah.
what it was like to watch real. I don't think we watch our favorite classic films as much as we certainly did when we were kids. I
Yeah.
haven't seen Jedi in years. I do own it,
Yeah.
but multiple different versions. But I haven't seen
Yeah.
it in a long time. And it's like, what
Yeah.
happened? You know?
What I'm thinking about how many. It's like I still have Star Wars calendar from I guess it was 78. I have a book of iron-on decals that also was from the original Star Wars. They sold this thing that was like all the blueprints of the different spaceships and stuff.
Mm.
And you'd pull out each one and unfold it like a giant map, and you could see, like the inner workings and stuff. And yeah, man, one of these days, I guess I do need to add to my YouTube channel
It
and
would be
just go through the
incredible.
Star
I
Wars
would
stuff, man.
but people thrive upon them though. And it's like I found out with opening the Star Wars YouTube channel, it's like, people just they want to see everything.
Yeah,
And it's like
the things.
I did a video on a Death Star clock that I have, and that's had like 50 views. Like people are just looking at a clock. So
Wow,
it's like
man,
all this
I
weird,
missed that one.
quirky stuff that's out
Yeah,
there, and people find it interesting. Especially, it's not like, oh, look at this crappy clock. It's like, look at how cool this clock is. So if it's
right.
in a
Yeah,
positive spin, but the amount of stuff that you've got, I think you'd
yeah.
I would happily just watch all your videos about all your cool
Well,
stuff. There's
you
always a
know,
little story behind them as well, so it works even
oh
better.
yeah. So I do need to dust. There's so much stuff behind, or to the side of my desk, and I do need to dust it because it's been years. And I have an R2D2 phone, and
Wow.
so and sorry, it's getting excited because my sexy wife just
Hey,
appeared. Like help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
you're my
But
only hope.
but the R2D2 phone is in the very back of this one shelf because it's so
Yeah,
tall. But yeah, man, I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that I should just document and put out there. But
yeah,
that was the story behind it. And we'll wrap up after this. But it's like I thought it was the coolest thing. It sat on my desk back in I guess it was the 90s. And you had a cord. I mean, it was very much a traditional phone, but it was
yeah,
R2D2. And
exactly.
so, but the downside to it was if it rang, it sounded just like R2D2, which was
Wow.
amazing until you picked it up and tried to answer, and it would finish the run of sounds before
Oh
it would
no.
stop. So, so my clients would call up and they're like, "What the hell is that? Is that R2D2?"
Yes.
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Yeah. So
You
so
have to
after a
sort of
while, I did unplug it.
retire that
Yeah,
phone and get a proper
yeah.
professional phone.
Right, right. And
Yeah.
now everybody has a cell phone and no landline. So
No.
yeah,
But yeah, thank you for the
yeah.
nostalgia trip with Jedi.
Oh, it's my
Um,
pleasure, man. I look
yeah,
forward to doing the prequels too.
me too. That means I got to watch two of them. You know,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
do that. I'll do
What's
that for you.
it's funny taking the kids to see episode 1 and then episode 2 and then episode 3 I saw with a bunch of friends and we went to the midnight showing.
Mm,
And that was my kids didn't grow up with a lot of gore and stuff. So when they were watching it, I guess on DVD, I had to, like when, I thought you were my brother or whatever that
Yeah.
line was.
The legs come off. You're like, wow.
Okay, kids. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So it was, I mean, like my kids were much older when they rewatched it and they were like, why did you stop us? This is nothing compared to what we watched today. So I'm like, well, all right.
Trying
Trying to be
to
a good
look
dad.
after you, trying to be a good
Yeah,
parent, and you're just
right.
punishing me for it.
I know,
Crazy.
really.
But yes, I shall leave you to it, John.
All right.
Thank you once again. I always enjoy these chats.
Oh, dude, it's
So,
been a blast, man. As always.
yep. Well, you enjoy your
Yeah.
day, and I will chat
Well,
to you
you
soon.
too, man. All
All right.
right, dude. Take care, man.
Take care.
All right.